Hello YouTubers again. This is my third video, and as promised I have been trying to deliver every day with a video, so please look at my other videos. They should be in the recommended column. If you don't see them, just click on the Brain Bloke icon and you'll be able to see them there. So today's topic is going to be about a funny story, another funny story of how I was slightly creative or over creative with a job I was on. So basically this happened a few years ago, and I had a job. I was working at a clothing store where I was just your typical assistant at the front, and I was just giving flyers out because the store had opened recently and people were wandering in, and I was just there giving flyers out to everyone, convincing them how this sort of branded charity shop had the best prices, and you also got the best quality with that too. So yeah, I was doing a bit of marketing. My voice literally, there was no voice actually after 8-hour shifts every day. But I was still at the front and always, you know, being the poster boy, if you like, for that specific store. Anyway, one day I saw this makeup artist job at Debenhams, and I realised I'd be interested in it. So if you saw my previous videos, I have been a makeup artist, and the way I sort of studied for that role was by going to a library, getting 9 books and just memorising the ins and outs. So the day I was on the clothing sort of shop job, I had an interview and it clashed with my work shift. And so basically what I did was, whilst I was at the front, I thought to myself, oh, this place isn't far away, and it were about 5 minutes away walking, or even like 2 minutes running. Debenhams was from where I worked. So basically I just ran to the interview when I was supposed to be at the storefront delivering these leaflets to potential customers. So I ran to the Debenhams interview during my shift, and I did my whole mock interview, and they loved me, and they said, great, you can have a job. And so 30 minutes later I ran back to this clothing shop job just to pretend I was still working at the storefront. Well, then that didn't happen. I wasn't there, of course, and then the manager came up to me and she asked, oh, where were you? And I didn't say anything really. I was just I think I may have mentioned something, oh, I might have been floating at the front but he didn't see me. But then she eventually figured out what happened, and I told her what happened too. And then everything basically went from there. I literally got fired from that job because yeah, because of what I did. I didn't tell anyone. But then, hey ho, I was at Debenhams the next day brushing women's faces with loads of massive powder and then telling them how pretty they looked every day. So that was a rewarding job actually, and it was commission based. So basically, I don't know, £8-9 an hour depending on how and how many sales you do. So I did that and I made a lot of money on the day because I was the only guy there. So like, yeah, so it was a novel experience, as the customers said themselves. So I did all this makeup stuff and told them how amazing they looked, and but then I got told off by a colleague there saying I was too truthful. You need to lie a bit more than you're doing right now. And so then instead of saying, oh, this will decrease your wrinkles, I just said, oh, this powder will reduce fine lines and keep them at bay for 8-9 hours in a row. And so yeah, I had to literally change my whole persona in that 4-5 hour shift I did. And so it was, yeah, you gotta be an actor in those kinds of jobs. And they basically told us to not pay too much attention to younger clients or customers because they won't have enough money and they're just going to get a free makeup job done on their face and won't have anything to show for it at the end because they won't have the money, and they'll just say, oh, that was nice, so thank you, but they won't. We needed cash, raw cash, so we targeted middle-aged women and upper-aged women. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience, and actually I would not mind doing it again. I would do it again if I had the time. But yeah, so that's how I got fired from one job and made it to this makeup job the next day. It just happened so fast. So and yeah, that's my little story of how that went. My next little anecdotal story is about me and rejection, really, in general, and how I coped with it. So this is how there's phases of rejection and relationships, etc. There's several phases, and that really applies to anything. Like you can apply it across, like, I don't know, like university places or any place that doesn't see you for what you want them to see you as. So yeah, when that happens, I just usually don't talk about it. I keep it inside, bottled up, so tight, like the chest hurts sometimes. But and then eventually I just let it out. Like, you have to eventually let all that negative energy out, otherwise you will pop, and pop big time. You will. It's not great. You should, like, whenever that rejection happens, you should just keep it out and get it out of your system as soon as you can. And then when you do that, then you will let the process of healing start, and that's when eventually, all the typical scars will heal and you will rationalize everything the way it should be. So sorry about the loudness. I think there's a football match going outside my dome, so yeah. So yeah, that's what you should do. You should just keep at it, keep your head held up high. For instance, I did apply to Cambridge, and of course I did get rejected, but at least I can say, look, I did apply and I had the bravery to apply. So there you go. In terms of your situations, you should exactly be doing the same whenever something falls on its backside, really. Just keep at it, keep grinding, and love yourself all the time, because if you don't, no one's gonna. And even if someone else does, you won't recognize it because you don't see yourself in that light. So you're pretty much screwed both ways. So that's what I would recommend. Another little thing I do, which aids all of this sort of self-image, etc., it enhances everything and how you see yourself. I write like a gratitude diary. Like I have like a gratitude diary, and every morning I wake up, I write one word that I'm grateful for. I think yesterday's word was food and shelter, which is all too typical because everyone gets it and you don't see it for what it is. But then you see homeless men outside, and you just think to yourself, yeah, this crap really does happen, and it's an issue, and it really opens your eyes. So I would recommend that you do the same. Literally every morning you wake up, whether even an afternoon if you're going through any sadness right now, and you're sleeping much more than usual, write one or two things. One thing actually, if you want. And so yesterday I wrote food and shelter. The day before that I think I wrote resilience, because I sort of looked at my past and quickly recollected all the events where I stood back up from all the crap that's happened to me, and yeah, and it's surprising what you can actually bounce back from. Like, it is so surprising. You need to just sit down one day and think to yourself, look, this happened and this is what I actually did And even though I felt bad at the time, I have grown from it and I have learned from it. And so if it happens again, it won't even happen again, because I will know what's happened before, if you know what I mean. So you know how to react, you know what to do in that situation, and you appreciate that. And that's what well-being is. Well-being is appreciating yourself for who you are, no matter whatever your perfections, imperfections, whatever. For instance, I'm a perfectionist too. So when I study and take notes, say if it's going to be a 200-page book, I will read 200 pages and I will make notes. Like, I'll be like the second author of the same book, if you like. I will make notes that comprehensive, but then I know people do it in other ways, and that's equally fine, and you're no less of a person than they are. So yeah, every little nook and cranny you find yourself, do not beat yourself about it, because it gets better and you just see the light. You really, really do. So please keep trotting on if you're going through anything that's really crazy and overwhelming right now, and have faith and the confidence that it will soon be over and you will learn something positive from that experience. So thank you for watching today. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't. If you haven't, please do subscribe. And I will upload another video tomorrow which goes through another teeny weeny story in my life and how you can learn from that experience yourself. So thank you for watching and have a brilliant day ahead. God bless. Bye.